By the way, before we begin, the comics behind you in the spinner rack.
Yeah, those are my comics. It's
Yeah.
my comic book collection.
Yeah. Those are Miracle comics? Or?
Yeah, Mr. Miracle.
Yeah,
Were you a
yeah.
big fan of Mr. Miracle? I have every copy of it.
Okay, I figured. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's a magician kind of
Absolutely.
superhero, right? So,
Scott Free was his alter ego. His Clark Kent was Scott Free.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that
Jack
part of
Kirby.
this is, I guess, technically nothing to do with the documentary, but just as a quick tangent, was that also kind of an influence as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Jack Kirby, who did the illustration and everything, was a magician as well. So
Mhm.
it was one of those things that when I realized that, you could do multifaceted things, 100%. Yeah. And the other comic books in there are Mandrake the Magician. So,
Yeah.
And Leon was a real human being and was my mentor and a friend. So
Okay.
He was a real person and a comic book hero.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of magicians in comics anymore now. That seems to
No.
kind of faded away.
They tried in 2020 a new Mandrake the Magician, having it be his granddaughter, Mandy.
Okay.
And it still does okay. But yeah, they're more Doctor Strange now than anything else for magic.
All right. So we.
Questions?
No, that was just like as an
Good
observation.
observation.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yo, welcome to My Summer Lair. I'm your host, Sammy. It's been suggested more than once, too. It's been suggested that I'm not playing with a full deck. Yunan. After abracadabra, two of the most popular magic words you will often hear are pick a card, any card, and of course, after that, is the equally magical, is this your card? While magic naturally conjures up spectacle, sawing the lovely assistant in half, right? Or making the Statue of Liberty disappear. Copperfield even flew, I think, for a little bit, like Superman. Magic can also be close and intimate, the opposite of spectacle. A simple deck of cards can provide so much delight. Well, unless you're getting creamed at one of the Vegas casino tables. But generally, playing cards can provide much delight. Playing cards are so ordinary, every single home, be it an apartment or a house, has a couch and a deck of cards. They're just there, strictly background. Thing is, I don't know where the cards came from. What do the symbols on the cards actually mean? After watching Lost in the Shuffle, a magic documentary at Hot Docs Film Festival, I've become even more curious about the origins of the cards. Two quick examples. The King of Hearts is known as the Suicide King because he appears to be sticking his sword into his head. Why? Three queens face left. The Queen of Spades, her head is turned right. Again, why? Seriously, you don't have to leave me. Dig out a deck of cards right now. It doesn't matter if they've got Transformers on them or semi-naked Vegas showgirls or they're just classic bicycle cards. Dig them out. Look at the three queens and look at the Queen of Spades. Look at the King of Hearts. Now, what if these designs weren't, I don't know, Freemason symbols like on the American dollar bill, or maybe even an inherited mistake from a time when everything was copied by hand? Magician Shawn Farquhar believes a simple deck of cards holds the key to solving a centuries-old royal murder mystery. How did Charles VIII, King of France, meet his unexpected end on April 7, 1498? Yo, if you're a true crime fan, you'll dig this. Will the greatest illusion of all time prove to be that an ancient cold case murder has been hiding under our noses all this time? Yeah, the cards are the clues. That right there, that's the intriguing premise of Shawn's Lost in the Shuffle documentary. The documentary premiered at the Hot Docs Film Festival in downtown Toronto. I sat down with Shawn and the director John Ornoy to talk about magic and playing cards and solving an ancient cold case. History lesson, kids. The 27-year-old King of France suddenly collapsed and became comatose. He lay down on a straw mat and he died 9 hours later. Maybe it was a brain hemorrhage. This is 1498, so medicine and science are, not all the way there yet. Magician Shawn Farquhar takes us through 6 countries as he both tries to prove his theory that hidden in the art of every deck of cards are the clues to the conspiracy to kill a French king in 1498. This is from a synopsis of the documentary. To conclude, while simultaneously creating a brand new magic routine that tells the real story of Charles VIII's ultimate demise. Indeed, now after watching Lost in the Shuffle, it's not a suicide king, rather it's a king who's being murdered. Yo, that's much different. Magic. Magic alters your perspective and naturally provides an opportunity to see something special. Shawn Farquhar makes a compelling case. Has he effectively solved the mysterious death of Charles VIII of France, the king who bumped his head? Watch Lost in the Shuffle, you tell me. For more on this intriguing premise, I sat down with Shawn, the magician, and John, the director, to understand. This may be a cold case, but this episode's about to heat up. Oh, that was a terrible, CSI type line or whatever that show is. Definitely just put me out of my misery.
Sound, the final frontier. My Summer Lair is an enterprise, a pop culture voyage with a continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new creators and celebrate established producers, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. And now here is your host, Sammy Yunan.
So, because there are two of you, because this is audio, so I want audiences to hear your voices, so I'm going to have you both introduce yourselves and tell me, because we're going to be talking about playing cards, tell me what's your favorite game to play with playing cards. It could be Crazy Eights, it could be poker, whatever it may be. So, do you want to start?
Sure. I am John Ornoy. I'm the producer and director of Lost in the Shuffle. And my favorite card game is probably euchre. Even though since I moved away from Ontario, I don't really play it as much because you don't find anyone out west that knows how to do it. But I've spent many hours playing euchre.
Euchre, okay. That's a good one, yeah.
And I'm Shawn Farquhar, two-time world champion of Magic and specifically card Magic. And I think if you were to ask me what my favorite card game is, I would say anyone where money was involved. But poker would be a good choice. And anyone, Texas Hold'em, probably right up at the top. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever competed in the, the Poker World Series?
I've been in a few competitions at smaller levels, but they usually ask me to leave early.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
I get that sense.
You get that moment where the pit boss comes over and says, just a question, is your last name Farquhar? And you go, yes, thank you for the play.
Yes.
And then I leave.
Okay. And I want to know how, a birthday party ended up becoming a documentary. If that is that the order of things?
Yep. 2019, Shawn had a small pop-up space, a theater in Chinatown in Vancouver, and I seen him on TV before. And it just happened to be my birthday. And so I went with my parents and we got tickets, and it was a tiny space. It was 15, 20 people in there. We were all sitting 5 feet away from him, and it's not
Close-up magic.
Yeah, I couldn't really be much closer.
Yeah.
And just had a fantastic time. And I did something I'd never done before. And I reached out to the performer a couple of days later and said, I had a really great, awesome time. Can I buy you a beer? I promise not to ask you how you do anything. And being a very approachable and friendly guy, we started hanging out. And then one day he took out his laptop and showed me this little PowerPoint that he put together around this court card conspiracy story. And I was like, you got me. That's a great hook. And yeah, that was 4.5 years ago. And here we are now.
In a noodle box.
In a noodle box.
I was preparing the talk to do for the Magic Circle in London as kind of an educational, kind of a ed talk kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, let me run through it for you. And he goes, this is a thing? I said, yeah, it became a movie.
Yeah. So this is the conspiracy that he's talking about, right? Can you kind of give us a snapshot of what that is?
It's my theory on a 500-year-old cold case murder mystery where the King of France, I believe, was murdered by his wife. And I can show you all the clues hidden in a deck of cards that were cleverly put in by an artist that nobody to this day knows who actually made the art for a deck of playing cards. And even when we went on this film, we went looking for those answers. But I found enough answers that I think anybody who watches the film will think my theory is really good.
Magicians and magic are known for secrets. So how do you know which secrets to reveal? How do you know which secrets to conceal?
I don't think any secrets should be revealed, but I think that you can tantalize people and give them enough information. That's what I think is great about this film. We don't reveal secrets. What we do, though, is show you this new appreciation for our art form, that it is art and that there's real technical things in it. Most people, when they think of a magician, think of some guy pulling a rabbit out of a hat or something. And I don't remember the last time I saw anybody actually pull a rabbit from their hat. But I've seen them, have a person's jaw drop right to the floor while they hold something in their hand that goes from one thing to another and transforms. So yeah, magic needs a better PR agent. That's what it needs. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And John, you would say that you as a magic nerd working on this experience, it deepened your interest in your passion for magic?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will admit that I don't know a single trick. And when I went into the process with Shawn, I was like, I really should, because I'm going to be around some of the best magicians in the world. I should learn something, but I like being slack-jawed. I like the sensation of just having no idea, because I think that's just a really, it's some kind of a high, I think.
It's magic.
Yeah. And so for me, yeah, I think spending the time and, watching these people work and just learning the process behind it. And, I'm an artist, but so I'm really interested in other artists' creative processes and just learning how that all comes together and the amount of thought and philosophy that goes into it was really interesting for me.
Does knowing a magic trick, how it's done, is that considered like a spoiler alert, or like does it deepen your interest in it now? Because now you understand there's a skill and a craft to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a better question for him, since I still don't know how anything's done. But even for over the course of the filming, what we're doing, which each one of the magicians that we met, Shawn kind of learned their favorite tricks. So each one of those that we learn, it's an effect that you can see, but there's also dozens of different ways that you can get to that finish line. So even if you learn one version of how to create that effect, there might still be 10 more that you haven't seen.
And that's the same for you, right? Like when you see magic, you can't turn it off, right?
I can't. I was born in a family of magic. My father taught me from a very young age to see what you're not supposed to see. And so I never saw wonder. I was in my mid-20s and I realized that the only wonder I saw was through the eyes of my spectator. And I love that. And then it wasn't until for the first time I saw Juan Tamariz, one of the subjects in our film, that I sensed wonder for the first time. And I felt what other people felt. And I was like, I want more of this. And it's very rare for me to find it. But I see magic and I can appreciate it for other things, the techniques, the styles, the character, the great storytelling, the art behind the magic. But yeah, finding the wonder, that moment of pure elation, of just joy, it's really rare for me.
Yeah, what you're talking about, it sounds like a retired NBA player, right? So when he goes to a game now, he can see some of the defenses and things like that. He can anticipate things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he sees, and whereas me, I'm just sitting there just eating a hot dog, having a good time.
Going, woo! And he's going, that guy should have got the layup. What's going on? It's like, yeah, exactly.
And so one of the things I like about the documentary was the way that you talk about a deck of playing cards. It's almost like a guitar. Where
it's my instrument.
Yeah.
It really is my instrument.
And so you can have different magicians using obviously different types of notes, making different types of songs. You go all around the world talking to different magicians. So who are some of the people in the documentary? Because there's a fascinating collection of people.
So we have the best card technician in the world. He would never consider himself a magician. He is this brilliant magician from Texas who does second deals, bottom deals, center deals, controls a deck of cards. Like, you have an auto mechanic. He is a card mechanic. And Richard Turner. And absolutely brilliant. We have Michael Vincent. He's a 3-time close-up magician, champion from the Magic Circle in London, the most prestigious organization in Europe. He's phenomenal. Alexandra Duvivier, she's from Paris. She's second-generation magician. Her father, Dominique Duvivier, is this phenomenal guy. They own their own theater, Le Double Fond. And she does magic in such a different style. Being a woman has a different perspective on the magic. We have Juan Tamariz, who I just mentioned, from Barcelona, who is this, well, I think he's almost 80 now, and yet he's forgotten more magic than I think I'll ever learn. It is the all-star. When John said to me, let's ask your 4 favorite, and when they say no, we'll go to the next 4. When they all said yes, I was like, what? They all said, yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
And for you, John, like the documentary Lost in the Shuffle takes place at one point in the British Magic Circle. What was that experience like to be in that environment? That's a special place.
Yeah, well, when we first got there, I wasn't great because we just got off the plane and I was not well.
Okay.
I was airsick.
We stopped the van.
We stopped the van twice so I could deal with things. So when we first got there, my eyes were barely open. But yeah, you definitely feel the history and all the aura that's in the place like that. Similar to the Magic Castle in LA, which is sort of like a comparable space. You walk into
I've been to the Magic Castle. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
the history and like
you feel there's something special in there.
Yeah. There are both really very unique venues that very few people are ever allowed through the doors. I mean, it's a privilege just to get into them.
Yeah, and that's why, like, when I've been to Magic Castle twice, and so when you go in, like, you feel like you've become part of this like secret club or like a handshake or something.
You are. You
right?
really are. You knew somebody because you're not getting through that door without knowing somebody. The Magic Circle's funny because the doors have these wonderful little emblems on them, and when you go in, you take the emblems off when you go inside, so nobody even knows what the outside is. It's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. And you have your own place in Vancouver? Or
just outside, a little place called New Westminster, the original first city in British Columbia, and first one in Western Canada, called Hidden Wonders. It's nestled in the historic district of New Westminster, BC. I'm on a back alley off of a main street, and there's no signage marquees. It looks like an old used-to-bit shop. People only know where they're going when they buy a ticket, and then they go into to just an old used-a-bit shop. They get a key. They have to put it in the right keyhole, and then they enter my little Victorian theater, which you get to see in the movie.
Yeah,
we actually film it. I get to do some magic in it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. What is the creative process like for a magician? Because throughout the documentary, you're learning these tricks, right? Learning card tricks and mastering certain hands and things like that. But for a magician, what is the creative process like? Because in comedy, a stand-up comic, a famous one like Seinfeld or Chris Rock or whatever, will do like material for about a year. They'll do a Netflix special or something, then retire the material and then start all over again.
Yeah.
So for
magic, it's different, but there's all different people. There are people that do it exactly as you described it in the world of magic. For me, my process for developing it, some effects I've been developing 7-9 years, and other ones I developed in a day because it was already had the skills, the techniques. I knew what I was going to say. The script was already built in my head because it seemed natural, so I was able to do it. With the film, it was a real challenge because I didn't know what I was doing other than I had a script of the story of this 500-year-old cold case murder mystery, and I wanted it to be illustrated through these card tricks, but the card trick was going to be built by talking to each of my guests and saying, what's your favorite plot and how will I be able to show me how you do it, and then if I can do that or if I have to adapt it. And the last one was like less than 24 hours beforehand. I did the interview, and then it was like, all right, now we have to incorporate that into it, build the whole thing together. Yeah, that one was sleep deprivation and pressure. That's how I developed that one.
Yeah.
Sleep deprivation and pressure.
Because there's a scene, I think it was in London, where you were starting to learn the trick or master the trick, and you were supposed to pull out 4 queens.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. I remember that. Yeah.
Right?
There weren't.
It was
like
3 queens.
Yeah, 3 queens.
And I think it was like a 10 or something. Was
something
another.
else. It was not what it was supposed to be. And that was just in the first phases. And I was like, okay, if I can do this part, that's a great place to start, because each phase, I didn't know what they were going to say on what their plots were until I got there. And I anticipated, which was funny. I thought they might say this, so I'll start working in my head towards that. And then Juan, the last one, told me a completely different thing that I thought. I'm like, no. You were the one I was banking on that I had an idea of. And it was like, so yeah, there's some good scenes sitting on a bed being frustrated and sitting at a coffee table in Airbnb going, I don't know if I can put this together.
You still get nervous performing a trick for the first couple of times now?
Sure. I think even after doing them thousands of times, I think that's good though. I think that if I was a performer that didn't get nervous, then I didn't care about my audience or what I'm doing. I read a great quote from a psychologist who said it's okay to get butterflies, just learn to teach them to fly in formation.
Oh, that's a great line.
It is.
That's really cool. That's really inspiring. Yeah. And for both of you guys, like, this started off as a crowdfunding campaign, but it was a really successful one. Like, people,
unbelievable. The magic community just came out. We went to Kickstarter, and it was.
Yeah, we hit our initial target in 12 hours. I was getting ready. We had like a good first day. I was getting ready to go to bed, and then I get an email from Kickstarter saying your campaign's fully funded, and I'm like, that must be a mistake.
Yeah, it couldn't be.
But our top perk was a chance to go to the Magic Castle with Shawn and spend the night there.
Oh, that's a good perk.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And somebody just came and took that and put us over the top. And so in the end, we hit about 280% of our backing from 500 people from like 20 countries. So that was pretty wild. I definitely did not expect that.
Yeah. I knew the magic community would embrace the idea. And then I've got a lot of friends in the magic community, but then those friends told other people. And it was amazing how it just steeplechased. Magicians, people like Chris Ramsey and Shin Lim, like, went, yeah, I'm in. And I'm like, this is cool. Guys from AGT and people who have, millions upon millions of followers on social media going, go check out this thing that I'm backing now.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
One of the words that keeps coming up in Lost in the Shuffle is curiosity. Was also part of the, you think, driving like the interest in the Kickstarter? Because people understood like...
Oh, I have a friend, Ron Hudspeth, who's an executive producer, and he is that guy that wants to know everything and question everything. He was the officer, fighter pilot, and so everything is analytical for him. And so to watch him going, yeah, I got to be part of this because I want to see the end of the story now. Because he'd heard me talk about it in social situations, going, one day I'm going to delve deep into this. And then when I said I'm doing it as a film, he's like, yeah, we're there. It's like, back this, I need to hear the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about skepticism too? Because that's something you kind of touched upon a little bit in the documentary. Like that's the opposite side, I guess.
But that's part of magic. We're all about skepticism because there's the Uri Gellers in the world that say, hey, I can bend a spoon, and everybody goes, oh, he's a psychic, and we go, no, he's got to be a magician. It's part of it. Being healthy skepticism and not accepting things just because it was written down in a book in history. Talking to the British card historian was fun because his argument for every time I said, well, maybe you could look at this alternative. No, it's already written in the book this way. And I'm going, but somebody
Settled
wrote
science.
the book, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Show me. Well, no. Anybody can make up a story. I said, precisely. And they wrote it in a book and you're believing it.
Yeah. And I don't want to give anything away, but you're comfortable now with the theory and you feel like you solved the cold case?
I feel so much more. I really believed it beforehand, but as I talked to the experts and I was able to easily debunk most of the things that they said, and a few of them, we even left out some of the debunking just because it was, I'm sorry, but you were really nice to come on our film, so we'll leave you with your theory, but I could knock it down with one question. And it was like, yeah, and I'm sure that the viewers are going to see the question and go say, well, what about, oh, it's nice he left it to us.
Yeah.
I love that.
John, you're convinced of the theory too?
I think there's a lot of great stuff. It's a 500-year-old story. So in the research, there were some gaps I had. It was tougher to close, but I think it's really fascinating. And to me, whether or not you buy it, if you changes the way that you look at this thing that you've held in your hands your entire life, then I think that's really cool. I think we're all getting fairly siloed in our thinking, and you think you know something and you don't want to learn anything else about it. So if you walk away from this film having taken this everyday object and now given an entirely new perspective on it, then hopefully that lets you kind of open your eyes to other things that are happening around you and going, maybe that, that's worth also taking another look at that. So if people walk away from that, then I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Magic is good at disrupting kind of like your train of thought, right? Because you get into a rut with life sometimes, and magic all of a sudden kind of
gives you a restart.
Yeah.
Just makes you stop and question something that you've accepted as a reality all your life. And this is what the film is doing. It's its own little magic trick. It makes you stop and go, maybe I can look at other things in a different perspective.
The first time we hung out, he was doing some tricks for the people sitting beside us and for the waitress. And then as the people left, he just took the straw out of his drink and just disappeared up his nose. And we spent another 45 minutes talking, hanging out. And the straw never came back. As soon as the people left, it's not like he pulled it out from somewhere. Like it was just effectively gone. And so you're just in a slightly different reality bubble when you're hanging out with Shawn.
Yeah. It's nice though, because I want people to question things. And it really does that.
And so it's called Lost in the Shuffle. It's playing at Hot Docs. You have a couple of performances coming up, or a couple of screenings coming up. Yeah. 2
screenings of it. And in the first one, I get to do a little magic afterwards.
Yeah. Are you going to do the trick that you mastered in the...
Oh, no, I'm going to save that. They'll already have just seen it on the screen.
Okay.
I'm going to do some goofy fun card tricks, but...
Okay. And the straw will come back?
The straw is gone.
Okay,
the straw is gone.
All right. So that's another mystery, I guess. That's
another mystery to be answered.
That's a sequel.
And that's a sequel? Okay, that's good. You guys are set up.
Lost in the straw.
Yeah.
Lost in the nose. That's it.
All right. That should be good. Thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Thank you.
Thanks for the documentary. It was really fascinating to kind of see the magic and just and it's just surreal how something as simple as where these cards come from and where the designs come from takes you all over the place.
Yeah. The history of playing cards alone is just an amazing story. And to see how they were manufactured, the old presses, it's just, I don't know. It opened a whole world. I'd never seen a lot of that live. And so to be able to actually, watch an operating press, the old, these giant wood plates going, fascinating for me.
So yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Yo, that's fascinating. The magic / murder mystery. Oh, maybe I shouldn't use / because we're talking about murder mystery. But anyways, the magic / murder mystery documentary is called Lost in the Shuffle. That was Shawn, the magician, and John, the director. I'm Sammy, host of My Summer Lair. Magic is a theme that runs through this entire podcast, and I suppose my life as well. So is being curious. I'm always it killed the cat, but I'm doing just fine. So yeah, I totally enjoyed Lost in the Shuffle. If you want to check it out, I'll provide a link to screenings at the show notes. A favorite quote from the documentary comes from British magician Michael Vincent. That dude was so cool in this documentary. Michael Vincent says, real magic is about feeling uncomfortable with certainty. Real magic is about feeling uncomfortable with certainty. Yes! Yes! Dude, yes! Being comfortable with uncertainty is one of the best life skills one can have. Well, that and a strong sense of humor. Tea helps as well. It's why I adore pop culture so much. I'm always hanging out with uncertainty. I'm always tracking down time machines and strange new albums, magic and documentaries of strange people doing strange things. The foundation of my world is uncertainty. That's all of science fiction. It's just laced with uncertainty. Which is why I'm certain you'll dig my newsletter, My Pal Sammy, over at Substack. Google Substack My Pal Sammy or go to mysummerlair.com/subscribe to sign up today. Together, let's celebrate the chaos of popular culture. Let's toast magic and high five over discovery. Candid cultural curation every week. That's what you get with My Pal Sammy. Google Substack My Pal Sammy or go to mysummerlair.com/subscribe to sign up today. Thank you for everyone who has signed up, who continues to read and to share. I really genuinely appreciate it. It's a weird thing when you throw stuff online. It sometimes feels like it's a void, like you're just throwing a penny into the Grand Canyon. But other times you get these kind of unique connections. People are reading, people are listening. It's amazing. You have so many options that you spend any time with me is incredible. It's why I always ask or say at the end of these episodes, thank you for listening to me in a Netflix world. It's genuine. Thank you. Playing cards, yo.